Okay, Adam, we're going to be talking about the easiest and essentially the only way to improve your golf game. Every single drill and exercise out there throughout the whole of history revolves around these key elements, mate. What are they?
So the most important part of the golf swing is when the club is connected to it. The club is connected to it for about half an inch. And so that's where all the inputs go into the ball and the ball flies off. The distance, the trajectory, whether it lands right or left, it's all due to those inputs at impact.
Yeah. Okay, so we can see that players will go down a rabbit hole of working on a lot of technicalities, but they have their time and place, but it's only relative to the impact, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I always get people to filter first, what do they need to change at impact? Okay. That's the question they have to ask. Now you can branch off from there, and if you find an impact variable such as ground contact that you need to change, you can go the instinctive route that we've talked about, or you could use a technical intervention, where you're focusing on a body piece, but it has to relate to that impact variable. You can't just randomly pick swing pieces and say, okay, this player's doing that, let me go and try that, because you'll just end up spinning your wheels and getting yourself into all sorts of tangled messes.
Yeah, it's very much like Googling health problems, right?
Yeah.
It's all factual advice. It can certainly help, but right time, right place, right person.
Exactly.
And the same thing goes for improving your golf swing, right? So when it comes to these, there's 7 of them, isn't there? And don't get overwhelmed, but when we talk through them right now, it'll make perfect sense of why these are so important. And Adam's going to talk about the correlating shots associated with those, aren't you?
Yeah, so there are 7 inputs at impact that determine the outcome. By the end of the video, I'm going to boil it down to 2 or 3 most important ones to focus on.
Yeah.
So the 7 impact variables are ground contact.
Okay, so ground contact would mean first point of contact is at behind the ball, at the ball, or in front of the ball.
Or no ground contact at all,
or
in
no
some
ground
cases.
Contact
But we ideally want that club, the sole of the club, to at least be touching the grass in the right place.
Yeah, first. So that's number 1. What's second?
Face contact.
Okay. So where the golf ball strikes the club face, mate, we can have center, we can have toe, we can have heel, we can have hosel, which we were purposely hitting some before. Yeah. And so what would that affect there?
So with an iron, it mainly affects distance. When you hit toe or heel, you're going to lose a little bit of distance from it. But with a driver or woods, we have something called gear effect as well, which without going too much in detail, when you hit the toe, it's more likely to hook to the left. When you hit the heel, it's more likely to flare out to the right. So it can affect both distance, direction, even spin rate with the bigger headed clubs.
Yeah, for sure. And if you hold your driver up, guys, you'll see that the club face actually has a bit of a bowing to it. And that it's designed to help straighten your golf shots.
Yeah, drivers are getting much better with that curvature and how they change the moment of inertia, things like that, so that when you do hit a toe hook or toe shot, it's less likely to hook, or it doesn't hook as much. It's more likely to hook into the fairway. But even with that said, you don't want to be hitting off the toe. When you look at the best players in the world, they're all striking very, very close to the center, very consistently.
Fantastic. So that is strike location in regards to the face. What do we got next?
Face direction.
Okay. So the angle of the club face, if this is, let's say, a straight up and down club face, this would be open and this would be closed. And the correlating shots would be if it's aimed to the right, the ball's going to go to the right, to the left, to the left.
Yeah, definitely. All else being equal, the more open the face is, the more to the right the ball's going to finish. The next one is path, club path.
Yep. And your famous nail drill for visualizing a nail through the golf ball. We can go from what would be an in to out swing path, or a low to high feeling, or the opposite would be a high to low and a cross. And sometimes we might get a straight on, but very rarely, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that affects the curvature of the golf ball really at the end of the day. The direction you swing, the ball is going to curve the opposite way.
Exactly.
Assuming the face.
So you don't have to have a perfectly neutral path. Lots of players on tour have slightly in to out, slightly out to in, but you don't want it too wildly off either, because that can actually affect ground contact as well. So these variables feed in on one another.
Okay. What's next?
Next one is speed, club speed. So how fast that club is moving at impact. All else being equal, faster club speed, longer distance. Angle of attack.
So angle of attack is going to refer to how much down or up we're striking on the golf ball at the moment of impact. Irons, Adam, what are we looking for there?
We're looking for a negative angle of attack. That doesn't mean that we're trying to purposely thump down on it, but
Definitely not.
you know, once that low point of the swing is in front of the ball, you will get a negative angle of attack. With the driver, we're getting the low point behind it, so we can get the ball on the upswing a little bit more.
For sure. So irons are designed in such a way that we have two angles. We have the shaft angle and the face angle. This angle needs to be leaning down so we can strike the golf ball in such a way where it's going to compress up against the face. The club travels down into the ground with a low point at the bottom of the swing after and then rises up again. Driver, we want a high launching, low spinning ball flight. The ball's teed up and we want to hit up on the golf ball there to optimize our efficiency and get a lot more distance.
And the last one is dynamic loft.
Yeah. So loft at the moment of impact, this angle, club face angle here. The lower, Adam, what happens there?
That ball is going to launch lower.
And the higher?
That ball is going to launch higher.
And so the effect of what you're looking for there for the players at home, working on this skill, how would that be beneficial to them?
Well, in terms of driver, you can optimize distance through improving both angle attack and dynamic loft together. Really important with short game as well. If you're trying to hit a low shot or a high shot, you can manipulate those things through setup or through club choice. But yeah, it's basically if you're hitting the ball too low and your balls are not holding onto the greens, you've got to find a way of increasing dynamic loft somehow, and vice versa. You know, I tend to, with my irons, hit the ball a little bit wafty in the air and the wind can grab hold of it. So I'm always working on drills that actually lower the dynamic loft to keep that flight lower.
Yeah, so we've got 7 of these, and today we're going to shoot a collection of videos revolving around simple, easy to understand and actionable exercises that you guys can implement into your training to improve your ball striking. But at the end of the day, Adam, having some awareness of what is happening at the moment of impact is so important, so players know what direction they should go in when working on their golf swing. And it's so commonly overmissed, isn't it?
Yeah, and the thing that I ask players, I know 7 variables is quite a lot, so I actually boil it down into 2 or 3 variables. So I get people to, after every single shot that they hit, ask themselves, how did I contact the ground? Was it fat, thin, or just right? How did I contact the face? So was it center or toe or heel? And then directionally, I link that mainly to club face direction. And we'll talk about how path influences direction as well, but I think all else being equal, club face is the biggest factor in direction and is also the most likely to change when a player hits a bad shot. You know, it's very rare that I would see a player hit one way left and their path has changed notably. It's always going to be the face that's changed more. So I get people to look at that. Now, there is a way of actually converting those 3 into 2 variables, and ground contact can be one thing.
Yeah.
Not only whether you hit too far in front of the ball or behind it, but also, Kerrod, if you hit too close to me,
For sure.
you're going to hit on the heel.
Yeah.
And if you hit too close to you, you're going to hit more on the toe. So you could effectively create a little X on the ground and think about which quadrants you're hitting. You know, closer to you, more toe; closer to me, more heel; further in front is more thin; further behind is more fat.
Yeah, and we've got some great drills using some tools and some feedback that are going to bring awareness to exactly easy to see variables of what's happening at the moment of impact, so you guys can self-diagnose and coach yourselves as such to improve your ball striking. So first point of contact in regards to the ground, where the ball is striking the club face, and the angle of where that face is pointing really is going to determine the success of your golf shots. We're out here at Robo Golf in Las Vegas with Adam Young. He's got plenty of great resources out on the net there you should check out to improve your game in the easiest way possible. Stay tuned, there's a whole bunch of great videos coming your way. Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.